So who's gonna be the best editing machine between these two? So the M1 MacBook Pro from 2020 and the M1 Pro MacBook Pro from 2021. Watch all the video and let's find that out. Hey, what's up? It's always me, Johnny, and welcome to my new video. So today, very interesting video. So it is a comparison, as you could see, between my two MacBook Pro, and one is the 2020 model, so the M1 chip. So it is the base model. Both of these are just base model. So the M1 version, it has 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, and pretty much nothing else. Then this is going against the newest M1 Pro MacBook Pro. I mean, there are a lot of Pro in these names, but anyway, M1 Pro, and it is also the base model. So we can find 16 GB of RAM. We have the 8-core CPU, 14-core GPU. So no upgrade at all. 512 GB of storage and pretty much nothing else. We are gonna see some tests using different editing software. I will be using Premiere Pro, of course, because this is the software that I use every day. Then I will use Final Cut Pro and also DaVinci Resolve. And without further ado, let's go to my desk and see how these two machines goes against each other. And before that, just remember to hit a like button down below, because this is one of the videos that it will take forever to do. So just hit a like button down below. I mean, it's free, and subscribe also if you haven't already. That being said, let's go straight to the tests. So here we are on my desk, and you can see here the two laptops. This is the MacBook Pro from the late 2020 with the M1 chip, and this one is the newest MacBook Pro 2021 with the M1 Pro chip. And so, as I said before, we are gonna test some softwares, some video editing software. So if you are interested into that, just keep watching this video and I will show you how they will do on these tests. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, it is to unplug these two laptops because they are both plugged in, both charged to 100%. And of course, as we did in the other video, we are gonna see at the end the battery life of both of these devices and who is the more power efficient, who is the more powerful, and all of this stuff. Anyway, the first test that I'm gonna do, it is to open up Premiere Pro on both of these devices. We are gonna see first one and then we are gonna see the other, because of Premiere Pro doesn't allow me to open up the software on 3 devices. I know that I have only 2 devices right here, but I have another device that I cannot do the logout. So we are gonna see first one of my latest project on this MacBook Pro, so the M1 version, and it is one of the video that it is already up on the channel, and we are gonna see how it runs and of course the render time. So I have Premiere Pro open it right here, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is at full resolution. I'm not recording the screen of these two laptops because of the loss of performance. So I will do this test all recording by this camera right here. So I have the project open it right here. You can see there are different layers on the project. It is not a very simple project because there are different files, different codecs, and one heavy codec that it is from this camera right here because it is 422 and it is 10-bit. So it is very heavy. It is somehow hard to handle by Premiere Pro. So we're gonna see from the beginning, we're gonna hit play. Pretty much it is going well without too many layers, but yes, you can see right here, also with 2 or 3 layers, it is doing its job. So pretty much no problem, very smooth. Then right here, there are different layers actually, and it is not very fast actually, and it is dropping some frames. You can see in the background, it is dropping frames because the animation in the background, it is not very smooth, but it is still playing. And don't forget that the quality, it is at full actually. Then we can go to this part where they are like 2 videos on top, one moving background, and actually there is some blur in the background, some text on the foreground, and all of that stuff. The frame rate, it is not perfect, but I repeat, it is at full quality and it's still running smooth. So as I said before, the play and pause, it is not super quick, but it is pretty much very acceptable. Now we are gonna see the same project on this new MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip. And by the way, I forgot to mention that on both of these laptops in the background, there are some apps running, and one is Final Cut Pro and the other is DaVinci Resolve with some files, with some heavy files loaded on them. So those results were all with this software open. Now let's open the same project here on the 2021 M1 Pro and let's see how it does. So same stuff, we hit play, full resolution, and we didn't drop any frame actually. So pretty much no problem here too. So let's go to this part right here. We have some clips, one on top of the other. So no problem at all here too. Then we are gonna see to the photo part right here. We hit play and we can see that in the background, I don't know, probably you will not see it very well, but here the background where it's blurred, it is smoother than the M1 actually. And keep in mind that this one has 16 gigabytes of RAM and that one has just only 8 gigabytes. And here we have no problem. We hit play and pause without any problem. It is not almost lagging, it is almost instant actually, the play and pause, you can see it. And then we can skip to the video part right here. Not very quick with the play, but we can see that the frame rate, it is a little bit better than the M1 chip. And of course it is not perfectly smooth, but actually it is a little bit better than the M1, that's for sure. And of course, scrubbing through the project has no problem at all. So you can go wherever you want on this project and it does have no problem. Now, if you want to know the rendering time of this project, that it is almost 10 minutes on both of these devices. I will put probably the time here, but on the M1 chip, so the 2020 version with 8 gigabytes of RAM and all of that stuff, the render time was about 36 minutes and 41 seconds. So it did take triple the time of the video to render out all of this video. Then on this M1 Pro, we had a time of 29 minutes and 48 seconds. So it is almost 8 minutes faster than the M1. And it doesn't seem like a lot for the price difference, but actually it is a lot in my opinion. Then I did the render test also on my desktop PC. It is of course more powerful because it does have more power and all of that stuff. It does have a dedicated GPU. It took 22 minutes and 17 seconds. So it was, in that case, almost 8 minutes faster than this M1 Pro. So between the M1 and my desktop PC, there are about 16 minutes of difference. That it is a lot. Anyway, let's do another test and let's open what we have right here, Final Cut. So I have a project because I don't know actually how to use Final Cut. I don't love it very much. I don't love the file management. I don't love the timeline. This magnetic thing, I really don't understand it because I'm used to other softwares. But anyway, I try to do pretty much the same project on both of these devices. And it is pretty much a simple clip from this camera right here. So 422 10-bit. It is only 1080p, not 4K. Then we have an 8K video from the Samsung S22 Ultra that it is not the heaviest file in the world, but it is a lot compressed. And then I stuck up 3 8K files, one on top of the other. And then I just had a normal 4K file, always from the S22 Ultra, that is 30 frames per second, so pretty much an easy file to handle for these laptops. And then I did this random composition, so there are 3 layers of videos. So one is 1080p 422 10-bit, the other one is 8K, and the other one is just 4K. And all of this sequence is almost 1 minute, and I will try, of course, to render and see the time and all of that. But both of these devices just can scroll through this timeline very quick and easy. So you can see right here, this is the standard M1, pretty much no problem. I can hit play, it does play very well. I can just double the speed, does have pretty much no problem. These are just 3 layers of 8K video, pretty much no problem, as I said before. 4K video, no problem, of course. 3 videos running together, no problem, also at 2x speed. So very powerful. Here we have the same situation, of course, so no problem. We are running through these videos like very easily. So you can see, no problem. No hiccups, nothing, pretty much butter smooth. And of course, on both of these devices, I have the better quality settings on both of these. Let's see right here. We don't have any proxy, so you can see it is pretty much at standard. So now we are going to render this small timeline and we are gonna see the times. So these are the export settings of this sequence. It is not perfect because, I repeat, I don't know how to use Final Cut, but it is not a synthetic benchmark, so this is how you probably will use your laptops. And these are just the preset from Final Cut from YouTube and Facebook, so I just select the Full HD quality, better quality right here, and pretty much the final dimension, it is the same one. Export time, it is a little bit more on this one, I don't know why. So the exports are finished, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but on the M1 Pro the render time was about 19 seconds, and on the M1, standard M1, the render time was about 39 seconds. So there were like 20 seconds of difference that, in my opinion, it's a lot. But anyway, this was just a simple test, so I repeat, it is pretty much for fun, just to give you an idea of the differences between these two laptops. So if you want more specific tests, just ask for that, because probably I will do much better. This was just to give you an idea, I repeat. And then we are gonna see some DaVinci Resolve. That I did some tests on this DaVinci Resolve. I didn't test yet the render times on these machines, but the new version of DaVinci Resolve, it's really fast. Actually, in my opinion, it is faster than Final Cut Pro, and it is very optimized for these machines. I did run also some of my files that you have seen before, and also with colors and all of that stuff. It doesn't have pretty much any problem, so I decided to download two files, and actually one is this one that you can see right here. It is the same one, and this one, it is from the Red camera. So this is an 8K file. It is 24 FPS. This is a very heavy codec, and it is pretty much insane to edit, and also just to open a file like this on some machine like this one. And also I did wanted to test those files on Final Cut Pro, but I don't know how to import those kind of files in Final Cut Pro. If you have any idea, maybe just type it down below in the comments, and I will try by myself and maybe let you know how it runs also in Final Cut Pro. These are the files. So this one is, as I said, from the Red Monstro 8K, and this other file, it is from the V-Raptor camera, so always a Red camera. It is always 8K file, but it is 120 FPS. It is not a heavy file like the other one, but it is really heavy too, because still it is an 8K file and 120 FPS. That it is insane. Let's go to the start of this file and just hit play on both, maybe just to see how they run. So we have like a little hiccups at the beginning, but then the file seems like runs pretty much smooth, and it is faster of course on the M1 Pro, but not a big difference actually. And we have on this file right here, we have some frame drops. You can see the frame rate right here on the top, but maybe it is too small for YouTube. Maybe you're not gonna see it, but it runs just around 10 to 15 frames per second, and then it goes to 24 frames per second without any problem. It does just have some frame drops here and there, but I mean, this is something normal really, because I repeat, this is a very heavy file. Then for the other file right here, the 120 FPS 8K file from the V-Raptor, always Red camera, we don't have pretty much any problem. It does run very smooth, and it doesn't have any drop frame. So very good on both of these machines. And I did want to try to render these two clips right here, so 8K clips on both of these devices, and see how they will do. I mean, this is a 20 seconds timeline, but anyway, I will try to render it and see how they will do. So same as before, I'm gonna render with these settings right here. There are presets for YouTube. These are just 4K presets, so I'm gonna render out this video in 4K and 24 FPS. The codec is H.264, so pretty much the very standard for every video that you are gonna use on pretty much every machine. So here I'm not gonna use any stopwatch, because actually DaVinci just shows the render time at the end of the render. So just hit render all, and let's see how they will do. So you see that here it's already finished. So 1 minute and 27 seconds, because as soon as it switched, like on this one, the other clip, the render goes just very, very fast. So as it just doing on this M1 chip right here. So as I said before, here 1 minute 27 seconds, here 1 minute 53 seconds, almost 30 seconds more on this M1 chip. It can be upscaled, we can say, depending on your project. So just for the sake of this test, I just decided to duplicate these clips, and then I just stuck 2 clips, one on the other. I've just added this clip from this camera right here. So remember that's 1080p 422 10-bit. It's somewhat an heavy clip, not compared to this one from the Red camera, of course. And then we have this clip from the S22 Ultra that it is also 8K, and then we are gonna render all of this clip together, and then we are gonna see the time and also when the fans just kicks in. Probably I'm gonna just expand this timeline, maybe make it a little bit longer, just to stress these two machines. So now it's almost a 2 minutes timeline, and we're gonna render it out again to see how they will do in this test too. So let's hit render on both of this laptop, and let's wait a little bit to see the results. So we have almost finished on the M1 Pro. Here we are at pretty much half of the timeline. Now it is going very fast because these are all the simple and easy clip to render out. We're gonna see at the end the differences between the two. And here we have the fans kicked in, not at a very high speed. In fact, they are already off. And also I didn't hear anything during the test. So here we have almost finished, but it is taking a little bit more because the last clip, it is 8K clip from the Red Monster cinema camera. So it will take like a little bit more. So we're gonna wait until it finish, and then we are gonna see some conclusion. So it is almost finished. 1 second remaining. So yes, yeah, it's finished now. Let's see, the fans are spinning pretty much at the same, the fan, it is spinning at the same speed as this M1 Pro. So this has 2 fans, let's just remind that, and this has just only 1 fan. And actually it did just go off right now as they did on the M1 Pro. Then let's see the render time. We can see right here 7 minutes, and here 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So almost 2.5 minutes of a difference. That it is actually what I was saying before. So if you have a heavier timeline, it will take like more and more, because the time differences between these two laptops will be exponential. Anyway, let's throw some conclusion. Let's see the battery status on both of these devices, and I can already see the difference, and it is a little bit surprising in my opinion, because here on the M1 Pro we have 93% of battery level, and here on the M1 we have 91%. And you can see that they were both charged to 100%, and last charge was the same time. So we have no differences on that. 2% on battery differences between these two laptops. That it is a little bit strange actually, because this has more power than this one, and this one is a little bit more power efficient, but still has managed to consume less battery than the M1. So I wasn't expecting that. So I'm a little bit surprised, but in a good way, because here on the M1 Pro we have more power, and then with this test we can say that we have also a little bit more of battery life. That, I repeat, it is very, very surprising, because we also seen that on the synthetic benchmark the differences between the battery life was a little bit more between the two, but in favor of the M1, because it was more power efficient, of course, because of the less power and all of that stuff. But in this case actually, so in the daily usage we can say, and the video editing usage, you have more performance and more battery life on the M1 Pro. I repeat, that's a very, very good thing to have. So these were my conclusion. Actually, I don't have to add anything more. If you want to know something else, just type it down below in the comments, and I will be happy to answer to your questions. And if you want me to do some other tests, just let me know it also in the comments down below. If you like this video, of course, hit a like button because it's free. And also what's free, it is subscribing to this channel. So if you see the red big button, just click it because I mean, it's free. And also it does help me to grow this channel and it is very much appreciated by me. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in my next one. Bye for now, guys.